Ryan Mack saying no booze over there. That's probably what it is, isn't it, lad? It's why the atmosphere there, isn't it? Yes, peaches. John saying exactly. Ghost saying, alright, lad. So think about it, right? Let's just do a little bit of common sense here if you've got any. When Daniel Kinahan was in Dubai, where was all the top fights happening? Where was all the main top fights happening that you've watched over the last few years? Where was they happening while Daniel Kinahan was in Dubai? Right? In Dubai. Okay. He's got to get on his toes now, so he's hit Saudi Arabia, and he's been in Saudi Arabia for 2 years or something, 3 years. Where's all the big fights? Well, not all the big fights. The people that was attached to MTK Global's stable, where are all they fighting now around the world? And wherever they're fighting around the world is where Daniel Kinahan is based. That's where his operations are. And you know what, mate? Don't you think it's mad the way they haven't arrested him? Don't you think it's weird the way they haven't arrested that kid? Don't you think it's mad the way that whole family can avoid justice around the world? It's mad, isn't it? How can no law agency or justice agency from right round the world get him? You're not dealing with Pablo Alfabar here or anyone. Do you understand? He hasn't got 100 men round with machine guns. So how haven't they got him? This is what you've got to think about now. Why haven't they got him? And if they have got him, why isn't he being put on public display? So when that warrant got issued for him and his family and his dad and all this, man, the Americans put on him, he knows off that shout that when he's arrested, he's never getting out. He knows the fact the Americans have put a bounty on his head. When they get him, you're not getting out, okay? Now, a little worm like that, that's never done prison, rarely been into a police station, rarely had his materials taken off him, rarely had his comfortability wrapped off him. And I'm telling you now, before he was even arrested, he's decided to turn. I'm telling you, mate. And that's why you get all these big connections that were at his wedding. He had a wedding, and you had the head of the mafia of Italy, the head of the mafia there, the head of the mafia there, the head of the mafia there. All the head of these big organised crime groups around the world was present at this wedding of his that he had in 2019 or something. It was like that. Every one of them people have been nicked and put in prison. They're either awaiting trial or they've been given jail. Everyone. The only person in the whole conspiracy that hasn't been nicked, who's all over the paperwork. So you've got that kid from Italy, I forgot his name. He's in court. He's a naughty kid, that one from Italy. You know, he's a proper naughty one. So he was from like the Italy mafia type thing. When they've got him, his paperwork, his conversations, his everything, in his court case, Daniel Kinahan's all over it. All over it. And they're sitting there in jail, these fellas who's being nicked, these Italians, screaming he's a snitch. Yes, peaches. So it'll all come out soon. You start calling him Danny Blue Eyes. That's what you'll start calling him, mate. Danny Blue Eyes, mate. Hey, you watch. Is it in the public domain? Some of it is, mate. Yeah, you've just got to go and search for it. Because it's on a different continent and it's not, it's not really relevant to the UK news. You're not really getting access to it. But if you go and read the papers in Italy, or you get people to send you like what it's meant to be saying in Italy or surrounding them areas, it's all there. It's all in the public domain, mate. It's on YouTube video, says Craftastic Clarks. Well, I didn't know that. But it is what it is. If you include up about the dynamics of criminality and the old school gangsters and how they move. You know, you will have had Christy, the senior one, telling Danny, you've got to talk it, or we're off. If we don't cooperate, we're finished. And that'll be the old school mentality from Christy, who's like 65, 70. Trust me, he will be saying to his sons, we need to deal with this or we're finished. We need to start doing something to get ourselves out of this. Any way possible we can get out of this, let's do it. And the only way possible of getting out such a situation is to cooperate. And that's exactly what they've done. And that's why you've seen pure people getting arrested all over the country, especially Europe. All over the world, especially Europe. And what they had like gaffs all over Europe. And what they do is they'd have like a villa out in the Marbella somewhere, but out in the Stigs. And it'll just be filled with everything. Your firearms, your drugs, all this mad stuff that they import and send across wherever. You know, it's all over the gaff. And they'll have 4 lads sitting on it. So they'll have a big villa full of all this. I'm talking 500 key of this and 300 key of that, 50 Glocks. And I'm not boasting. And these are all in one big villa, say in Marbella and the Stigs of Marbella. And around that one big villa, you'll have a few little villas. And in them villas, you'll have scousers. You'll have scousers sitting in these villas protecting these plots. And what's been happening right across Europe, them plots where them scousers and them cockneys and them Manchester kids are minding, they're all getting nicked. Busies are pouncing on every single plot and just taking them out. Now you can only do that with information and the source that knows exactly what's going on with that organisation. And it's Daniel Kinahan, I'm telling you. In the last 2 or 3 years, the amount of kids that have been nicked in Europe attached to him and his graft, and they've all been wiped out and nicked and put in jail, and they're not. So, you know, yes, Miss Singleton, or Singlink. Just hypothetically thinking, right, think about this. I've got a big graft. I've got pure heads grafting for me. I'm well known, I'm feared to have got the major graft. I'm flooding most cities in the UK with my graft. I'm smashing it. We've done a few people. We've got a reputation you don't for us. Okay? All of a sudden I come unstuck. My name and my dad's name and my brother's names, bang, just being given a big mad warrants. We're getting lifed off when we're caught. All of a sudden, as you're watching this happening, you're also watching my mate, my grafter, all getting nicked around me, and I'm not. What are you going to think? Right, so why don't you think that of Daniel Kinahan and the Kinahans? You know, you're not going to be a rocket scientist to work out what's gone on there.